What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Zachary Reality. I am your host, Zachary Reality. Happy 23rd episode of my podcast. I am so beyond excited about today's podcast because The Circle is back on Netflix. Season 3 of The Circle premiered just last week on Netflix. They dropped 4 episodes. They're just dropping 4 more this week. I am such a Circle fan. You guys obviously know that I am a huge Survivor fan. I've been watching Survivor for like 15, 20 years. So when The Circle became a show, I initially was so hooked because it's so similar to Survivor with the strategy and the gameplay, but it also has that social media element. And that is what I love so much about The Circle. So to say I am a super fan of The Circle would be an understatement because I love The Circle. I ride so hard for The Circle. So we are going to be dishing on all things season 3 of The Circle today on my podcast. We have a very special guest from season 2. You may know him as River. You may know him as Lee. But Lee is going to be joining me on today's episode to dish on season 3, the first 4 episodes, what he thought of all the players, what he thought of the cloning, Blue Michelle, Team Orange Michelle. We're going to get all into it. And we're also talking so much about season 2, some things that he wished he could have done differently. We play out some scenarios, and we also talk about a potential Circle All-Stars, which could be really, really super cool. So I'm going to play the episode with Lee, and then I will touch base with you guys at the end of the podcast.
We are here with season 2 veteran of The Circle to dish on season 3, season 2, the most iconic catfish besides Delisa or Tide.
Okay, yeah.
Lee, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you, Zachary. I'm so excited to be here. Been following you. Love all your stuff. You're amazing.
Thank you so much. I love that you have found me and appreciate my content because I love you so much. I loved you on the show. So it's going to be so fun to dish today. I think this is long overdue.
I think it's long overdue. I'm wearing Courtney's hat, so we'll spill some tea and have some fun.
In true Courtney fashion.
Exactly.
Okay, the messy queens. So we got a dish on season 3. We got a dish on season 2. It just came out the other day. What was your kind of first initial thoughts?
Well, I got up and watched it. I brewed some coffee and I got up and I was watching it. Then Steven got up about halfway through episode 1. Then my mom, who lives with us, she got up. So we're all watching it in the middle of the night because we couldn't wait. We had to watch all 4 episodes. I'm thrilled with this cast. I love all the drama and all the craziness that has already ensued. I know it's the Michelles. Oh my gosh.
Well, I watched the first 2 episodes last night and then the second 2 this morning. I couldn't do all 4 at once. And I was a little nervous about the cast at first because season 1 and season 2, iconic cast, every single person was so iconic. And I felt like season 3, I just needed to I needed a minute to warm up. Now that I'm 4 episodes deep, I'm in awe. I love everyone so much.
Me too. Me too. I think they're all coming to play. I think I'm so glad they're part of our Circle family. I don't think they're going to disappoint.
I know you love everybody, but who are a couple of your initial favorites?
Okay. I'm really loving Daniel. I love his energy, the youth, and Matt. Love Matt. I really was into Michelle, and I don't know.
Orange Michelle or Blue Michelle?
I know. What a twist! Wow, I was thinking I would be devastated if that was me. They were cloning me, or I think cloning is a cool power, but it's very tedious as we find out.
It happened early on, and it was really frustrating to see Orange Michelle squirm, but it was also such good TV too, just because she took it the most person, you're going to get the most reactions out of her versus anyone else if they cloned you.
I think so. But my thinking is, as far as a strategy, I would have picked someone else to clone had I been Ava and Chanel. I probably would have picked Kay.
Why Kay?
Because Kay was already way high up. So it does 2 things. It creates doubt for Kay, but if you win, she's already got all these people that are voting, ranking her high. So I wouldn't have picked the bottom person. That's just my thinking. I could be wrong about it, but I get why they did. Easier to clone, I guess, and do the Southern accent and all that. But
That's
I would have gone for Kay personally if it had been me.
That's a really good one because Kay is the biggest threat right now. She has become like the top dog. She's almost reminding me of Terralisha a little bit, how she took dominance so quickly. But I think Kay is a little smarter because she is going to be a little bit more reserved than Terralisha necessarily was. So I feel like I'm loving Kay. I think that she has a really good shot to go far. Who do you think are the top like 2 or 3 biggest options to win at the moment?
I completely agree with you about Kay because the one thing, I mean, she's impressed me so much, but the big thing that for me that tipped me off, and I don't remember if it was episode 3 where they were doing the honest reviews anonymously, and she went after Daniel so hard, and she said why people in the middle, which is where I like to be, that's how I played in my season, are dangerous because you never know when they're going to come out. So she wanted to really inflict some major damage anonymously, and I thought, man, that was so smart of her. And other things she's done has been incredibly smart. And then I'm liking Matt as a catfish because I think he adjusted, he came in as his lesbian friend.
Genius.
And then when Nick started coming on with the flirt, Nick was clueless about his profile. I think it was so smart to say, well, I guess I'm now a bisexual. And I thought that's how you have to do your strategy going in any reality show. You come in really hard. Here's my plan. And then you modify as things change. So those two, and Calvin he's sitting pretty nice because he's tied to Kay so well. And
he's reminding me of someone from season 1. I forgot.
Antonio.
Yeah.
He reminds me of Antonio.
Was sitting well too. You really do. That's a good point for anyone listening that's going to play in future seasons. You have to adjust your strategy. Like Matt didn't expect to go in as a bisexual, but then he realized it would work towards his advantage. You need to know how to pivot. Is there anything, like, give me an example of something that happened during your season where you pivoted?
I think Terralisha, she was big sister, everything, she loved my poetry. And I had already, which they didn't show this, but I'd already formed the alliance with the Cardashians. So that was my primary, Courtney, my number 1, Chloe, number 2. But because she was in a position of power and loved my poetry, I called her my big sister. But things changed. And I had to say, I had to let her go, when Courtney and I were both influencers. So you have to make those decisions, and they're hard decisions, but you got to be flexible and pivot. Like you said, Zachary, perfect word.
I am a Survivor OG fan. So I've been watching Survivor since I was like 6 years old. And since I also love social media so much, that is why I have fallen in love, and I'm like hardcore fandom with The Circle. When you applied to season 2, did you watch season 1 or did you not know what you were getting yourself into?
No, actually what happened with me is, we were in lockdown. It was March. It had been out for a couple months, and my niece and nephew, I couldn't go see them. They're adults and they have little young children, but we were used to seeing each other and we couldn't. And so they found this show and said, Uncle Lee, let's watch this show. And so we would watch it, and then we would do Zoom calls and talk about each episode. We'd watch one. We did it in and I felt, I'm like you, Survivor, which is coming out pretty quick.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited about it as well. And then Big Brother, I'm dying for Big Brother right now. I don't know if you watch that one as well.
I'm not watching that one because it's on too many nights a week, and I have chosen Bachelor fandom, and you can't do both.
That's true. My mom watches Bachelor fandom, so I get I kind of get the skinny
job
on that. Yeah, it's a full-time, especially for you. That's what you're doing.
Exactly.
No, but we were watching it, and so in June, after watching season 1 of The Circle, I loved it. I thought I had applied one time for for Big Brother years ago as a lark. And then I did the same thing. I'll just send it in. I found it and I filled out the application, and it's a long application. And then they ask you, hey, we need a video. Well, I was like, okay, I've already spent way too much time on this. I'm working on a book. So I set it aside, but I'd already sent that up. Well, then I started getting emails that said, hey, we want a video. And I thought it was automated. And in July, which they were getting close to wrapping up, choosing the cast, I got this email. I was like, oh, this is from a person. So I just grabbed my phone, 5 minutes, boom, boom, boom. Here I am, sent it up. And then I got a call the next day and started the going through the casting really quick. So I was so thrilled they picked me.
No, you honestly did so amazing on the show. I loved your character. But let me ask you about Michelle then, because you were, one of the older people on the show, but you're basically like a 25-year-old. Your brain, your personality, you're so youthful. And I feel like Michelle is also, she's in her 50s, but she's so youthful that like anyone could talk to her. But she didn't decide to play a catfish this time. Do you think she would have done better if she played a catfish?
I've thought about this the older person coming in, and because the John character, which was definitely an illusion, everybody really glommed onto early. When he came in later, I think an older person could do it. I think she got, because of the cloning thing,
that ruined her chances.
I think it just kind of hurt her. And also the I don't let my dogs lick my face. I think that just cratered her game because it seemed incongruent to her picture.
That's fair.
And I'm the same way. I don't want dogs licking my face for the exact same reasons she said. But that's another thing about strategy. You have to, especially in the circle, you realize they're only seeing text and your picture and those kind of things. I would have lied. I would have lied about that and said, oh yeah, I love my little fur babies, and built on that to create sympathy, because you can't. Fair. And then talking about the cloning, I don't know if you agree with this. I think Ava and Chanel told more heartwarming stories. Michelle, the real Michelle, Orange Michelle, was so locked into I'm the real Michelle. She was telling stories, but she felt
insecure.
She wasn't hooking anybody in.
Well, she felt insecure because I think she was just so blindsided. She felt attacked by Blue Michelle. And I feel like Ava and Chanel are so much better off in the circle as Blue Michelle. I mean, they killed it. They should have done that to begin with. But I think they really wanted to rely on Ava's, looks and blonde hair and everything.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they definitely have that catfish mentality. Man, when they jumped into this, hey, you're going to steal an identity, they jumped in with both feet, which was great television. I loved it.
I want to be named Michelle too. Everyone's Michelle.
Let's have another Michelle. Let's have 4 or 5 Michelles. Our host is Michelle.
Oh yeah.
Why not?
She's awesome. She's really awesome too. What was it like meeting her? Were you a fan of her before the show?
I was a fan of her before the show. Yes, because I had seen season 1. Okay. That's actually how I became a fan. And then I started grabbing any content I could find of her. She's just blowing the hell up. She's killing it. Yeah. And she's just as sweet as you can be. Beautiful person.
Yeah. Now back to Ava and Chanel for a second. I did not like them at first, but after episode 2 or 3, they really grew on me, especially the older sister Chanel. Now they are actually getting a lot of criticism online right now. People are upset that they took Michelle's identity. I mean, what else do you think they could have done in that situation? Because I feel like they handled it the best way they could.
Well, I mean, they walked into that wonderful room where Courtney became the Joker, and you're either out of the game or you take this opportunity. It's a hard thing because you definitely are going after somebody, but that's the game. You're always making those decisions. I'm sorry that people are going after him. I would have done the same thing. Honestly, you want to be there so hard. You love all these people, but you are making decisions at the end of the game to go as far as you can and hopefully get $100,000 check. It's hard, but you can't take it personal. It's a game.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Let's move on to a couple other things that have happened. 2 new players enter. We have Sophie, I believe. She's playing her older sister, Isabella. And then the new girl, Rachel, who's playing her friend's boyfriend. Jeff is the name, correct?
Jackson. Yeah.
Jackson.
What
do you think?
I love them. I mean, I know we haven't seen a lot of them, but that discussion that Sophie, aka Isabella, and Matt, aka Ashley, when they had that discussion and Matt told us about his coming out and the difficulty with his father. And what I love about it, Zachary, as a gay man, everybody has there's a lot of different experiences. Daniel says, hey, why coming out should be not a thing. Who cares? You are who you are. Totally agree with that. Sophie, I came out to my family. Everybody was welcoming. Matt, a completely different experience. So I love that we get to hear 3 different kinds of things for LGBTQ people, because it is different for everybody. Every family is different. And I thought it was very touching, and I appreciated it a lot, and fell in love with Sophie, aka Isabella.
Too. Oh my God, she is such a character. I hope that she goes really, really far. But I love that the circle has a bunch of, I guess you could say, misfits. Like, I love that there's multiple people of the LGBTQ community. There's multiple races. There's multiple religions. Like, they really mix up the people. And it's not just like this bland white show like The Bachelor or like any other show. So that's what I love so much about the circle, the diversity it brings.
I agree. Ruxana. I mean, you don't see little people in a lot of reality competitions, and she's Indian and American, and I mean, I just love that that's a possibility with the circle, and social media is that really is social media. You can be anybody. I want to see people that a blind person could be on the circle. You know what I'm saying? A deaf person, all these different colors of the spectrum, and I love that about our show.
Yeah. What do you think about Roxana? Because I think she might be in one of the best positions right now, because she's not on anyone's target list and she seems pretty well connected.
I think you could see her go very far, because I loved the one thing about the cloning. When she was talking to the Michelle, she kept saying, well, she was constantly thinking about, this could be this or it could be this. And I think she's brilliant how she's playing. I think she's positioned. I agree with you 100%. I think she's positioned great.
Because I just feel like Kay is too popular right now, and it's like everyone's going to love her. But don't you think that could fade out?
Her and Calvin, you see how far Calvin went down in that last ratings. I think she is going to have that. I think that's going to be a problem, because she's been up there twice. And I think these players are smart, and they're going to be thinking, I don't know if we need to give her that much fuel.
Power.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then last season, Chloe, once she was pretty much popular the entire time. How was she able to do that?
Well, kind of what, like you said, Roxana may be doing the Chloe thing. She's connected with Daniel. She's connected with Kay. I think her and Calvin and, who's the other one? Nick. She's got something going there. So she's kind of doing that Chloe, I'm everybody's friend and I'm everybody, I'm bouncing around and people like me and don't feel threatened by me. So she might do it, Ruxana. Kay, on the other hand, I think she's been an influencer twice. She's made decisions twice. If I was in there, she would be my target. I would be like, unless I was Calvin and she was my number one, but anybody but Calvin, she'd be my target if I was them.
I mean, she's a threat. I can't wait to hear the alliances names, because everyone loved the Messy Queens. Everyone loved the Kardashians. Like, when are we going to get # alliances? They have to happen pretty soon, right?
Well, we've got Wolfpack,
who's in that?
That's Daniel and Nick and Calvin. Calvin named that one. That's the only one that I know that there's a name, but they better give us some names, because I'm with you. I love names.
# Messy Queens. I mean, did you come up with Messy Queens and Kardashians?
Actually, Kardashians I came up with, but Messy Queens was Kat. She was giving us a little. We were dubbed the Messy Queens, which I loved. I know she got a little bit of grief about that, but I'm a messy queen sometimes. I'm okay with it.
You guys owned it and you killed it.
Yeah, why not?
Bringing it back to your season, how far did you expect to go?
I never thought I'd even get in the...
Okay, but once you're in the game and you're like day 2 or 3, like, do you feel like you can win this, or are you just like taking it day by day?
I would say I had both mindsets. I can go far, but taking it day by day. And every time there was ratings, I thought, and blocking, and I wasn't making the decision, I always thought, this could be me. I would go down the list. This is why it's me. So I always was running a little scared, but I think that's not bad to run a little bit, not too paranoid, but just enough. You know what I mean?
100%, because if you're too paranoid and you see this on Survivor, then it's going to eat at you and get to your head, especially when you're in an isolated location. That would probably eat at you more. Or do you feel like it's almost less distracting because you're not like worried about like people's facial expressions and stuff?
I think by yourself, I don't know. I haven't had the other experience, but in my opinion, it may be a little more, because you don't have the facial expressions. You don't see, oh, so-and-so and so-and-so are going and talking. Okay, that means something. You just have group chats and your personal chats and then the games. That's it. And so all that time when that's not going on, you're overanalyzing.
Yeah. I mean, everyone,
so.
The main question I think that I got for you and that every person on the circle gets is like, what do you do in all your free time?
I drew pictures,
yes.
mainly, and that was still in the game because I started it because I had written notes, but I'm more of a visual. Even though I'm a writer, it's funny. You'd think I'd be more of a person that learned through notes, but I'm really more visual learner, and so I drew all their pictures and I would move them around and play little games with them. So that's what I did.
And what do you got going on behind you right now? Do we have the whole cast here?
We have the whole cast. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, there's Shelly. Nice. There's Chris from season 1. I moved everybody but Chris. Oh gosh, he's amazing. Let's see. I don't want to, and that's everybody. Yeah, I got everybody up there.
What a nice background. And are you selling your drawings or are you just doing it for like all your followers?
I haven't sold them, but I've had Zachary, I've had so many people said, I'll pay you if you draw me. And I'm like, okay, I haven't put it together, but I think that's going to be something that I do. More than likely, I'll try to tie it to charity or something because it's just for fun. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I've had so many requests for it. I probably am going to do it. Yeah.
I mean, your drawings are just so simple, but like they're so accurate at the same time. So please draw me because I don't think you've done that yet.
Oh, I will do that. I will do that for
you.
Sure. And I'll send you a digital copy and figure out where to mail you a copy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
You're amazing. Okay. Back to season 2. And then we got to do season 3 a little bit more. What at the end, when there's 5 people left, do you feel like did you think you were going to win?
I thought, okay. So when I was super secret influencer, and deciding who goes, I ran through every scenario. They didn't show all that, but because I'm a reality junkie. I'm like you. I mean, I've been watching this stuff forever. And so I ran through every scenario. I figured Courtney would play strategic in his final ratings. And then Chloe, I thought would do her heart. John, I really thought he would do his heart. Now knowing it was Jack and Lisa,
the duo we did not know we needed.
Yeah, they were strategic. And then I really thought Trevor, aka Delisa, would be strategic, and Mitchell would be strategic. I knew that those two were not going to rate me high. I picked Mitchell, thinking, okay, that's going to help. But I really thought going in that wouldn't be good. Since the game, and I'm going to ask you this because you are a reality person. What if I had got rid of Courtney? And here's my thinking. Chloe would have thought it was either Mitchell or Trevor. So she would have been a little ticked and would have felt sorry for me and ranked me high. The others would have thought, oh my, John would have thought, okay, it's them. So they became super secret influencers, so they had high votes. They would rank them low. So I think I would have had a chance stabbing my best friend in the back to win.
That's what we see on Survivor. Sometimes that will either work for you if you're like Tony Vlachos, or sometimes it will work against you if you're like Russell Hantz. It's really how you carry it. But I feel like for your relationship with Courtney was so solid that I think everyone would look at you in a bad light as the devil. I think you should have got rid of Trevor, Delisa, like obviously, right?
Well, I'll tell you what my thinking was. If I got rid of Trevor, who Chloe was in a relationship with, in love, she would have blamed me and Courtney. And we would have, I mean, that's why I didn't, those were my two, really, because I was voting with my heart. It was Trevor and Mitchell. And the reason Mitchell did is I thought Chloe will be so hurt that she'll rank us low. I tried to get rid of Trevor so many times and feed little things because I was so worried about Trevor the whole time, and I couldn't figure out how to. She played a masterful game. Delisa played a masterful game.
I don't know if you guys knew in the moment, but I think as a viewer, especially as someone who studies reality TV, I knew she was going to win about halfway through because of her heartwarming story. But I also really thought you were like, I thought it was a possibility. I thought it was going to come down to you too. I really was shocked when you got 4th place.
I thought I was going to get 3rd, to be honest. I thought I would come in the middle
after Chloe
and Courtney. I thought the 3 of us would do it. I really did think that's where we were going to be. I thought Chloe was going to win personally.
Yeah.
The whole time I kept thinking Chloe's going to win. You know, I wanted to bring Lance because I thought that's one less person I have to worry about, because I knew if Lance got to the finale, Lance was not going to win, you know, but and I think one of my big mistakes, you tell me if this is true, is the pool thing. Even though none of them heard that, but I thought, why did I say? I had no idea what I'd do the money. I was there for the fun.
Yeah.
And so I had not even given it a thought about the money. And so I said the pool.
Well, that's the thing. I think towards the end of the game, it really comes down to some people all about the money and winning. And to other people, they're like, I had a great experience. I made great friends. Whatever the outcome is, I'm going to make money after on Instagram. So it doesn't matter. So I think that if you kind of openly admit in any regards that you are not here for the money to win, people just might not want to award it to you, because at the end, you want to vote for someone that needs the money more than you and deserves to win the game.
I agree with you. As a viewer of reality TV, I feel the same way. But if I ever get to go back in or go on another show, I am going to be ruthless this time.
You have to be. Well, would you want to do Survivor Big Brother, or do you think we can get, I mean, we're going to get the Circle All-Stars in like season 6 or 7.
I hope so. Fingers crossed. I hope they call me.
They have to call you. But there's also so many good people too. You know, it's like, how do you fit everybody?
I know there's so many good people, but I'm hoping I get a call. I would do Survivor. The only thing is the physical. I don't know that I could, because I'm going to be 59 Tuesday, so I don't know if I could do it. Thank you. I would do Big Brother in a heartbeat. If they called, I'd go. And that's
and the All-Stars.
And the All-Stars, I would do. Yes, I would do it. I would go back to the Circle because the experience was so positive.
Yeah. And how long is the Circle? It's like 3 weeks.
People have asked me that, and the honest truth is, I lost track of time so fast because they were controlling when we woke up, when we went to sleep, all that kind of stuff. So I would guess probably 3 weeks. It seems like as much as we did, 3 weeks sounds right, and we had 2 weeks of quarantine as well. Of course.
And maybe quarantine will be less for future people because of whatever.
So.
Did you feel like you were trapped, or did you feel like you were on vacation, or were you just like in game mode?
I was in game mode primarily game mode. And I had one day I felt a little, cabin fever, claustrophobia, but most of the time I was so thinking about the game and so enjoying it was something I wanted to do for years. Survivor's been on 22
years since 2000. Yeah.
And I've watched it from the beginning. So,
Wait, tell me your like top 3 favorite players
on Survivor.
It doesn't have to be like just anyone. I'll go first.
I love Boston Rob. Love him.
Were you like a Rupert fan?
Yeah. Not huge. Are you a big Rupert fan?
My whole family was, but I like the villains. I like Parvati. I like Russell. I like Randy. I like Corinne. Like, I have always loved villains on every reality show. Like, if I go on a show or when I go on a show, like, I'm just going to become the lovable villain.
You would be a great villain. You would be fantastic. Okay, so who's the villain in season 3? Is there a villain?
Well, I think the villains were Chanel and Ava. I mean, I stole Michelle's identity.
I agree. 100%.
There might be a couple more. I think Matt has potential to be a villain, but he's also playing it really cool. Calvin could be a villain.
Yeah.
Daniel is too sweet to be a villain. And I love Daniel, love his personality, but I don't think he's going to go very far. I think he's just a little too young compared to everyone else, like mindset wise.
I think he's not a threat though. So I think he may stay for a while, be a number 2 or a number 3 with people for a while. But if he can find his footing, he could do well, but we'll see. You know, I see how all of them could go the whole distance.
And you don't know any spoilers, right?
No, I listen, I think I was somewhere and it was somebody that knew something and I go, do not, and they weren't going to tell me, but I just immediately said, don't tell me anything.
Oh yeah.
Because I enjoyed the experience of watching it. I mean,
100%.
and wondering and getting my favorites and having my own little bracket.
Yeah. But the thing is, you know, I know you've talked to a lot of the contestants and so have I, and I almost can tell when I'm like texting or messaging with some of them, like if they won or not. Like I just had an inkling, like even last season, I was talking to a few of you guys. I just had an inkling Delisa was like, I just had a feeling. Yeah. So do you get any feelings that like, based on who you've talked to, like who's going to win or lose?
I really don't. I mean, I think you're probably more skilled. Why don't you and I be a duo in the circle? And then, you know, because you would be, and we could go in as a villain. Well, you know, because I think you have better instinct to that than I do. Because
we're the next Chanel and Ava.
Come on. We'll steal everybody's identity.
But we need a catfish. Oh yeah, multiple cloning, triple cloning.
Triple cloning, exactly.
What other twists do you think we can expect to see in season 3?
I don't know, but I know they're coming. I really believe they're coming. I just don't expect this to be just a ho-hum season. I was kind of like you. I was fearful because I felt like our season was pretty great, and
many good people.
And I think season 1 the same. I felt really good about season 1. So, you know, you're thinking, okay, because having watched so many, there are seasons where it kind of you watch it
together.
Yeah, it kind of does, and you go, oh, okay, I got through that one, but I wasn't dying for it. But they've got me. They got me hooked on these first 4 episodes for sure.
So I'm going to ask you who you think your winner pick is. Now, I know this will change maybe in an episode in a day, but if you had to pick one person who you think is going to win right now, and we will look back at this, who do you think it will be?
I have several reasons for different people.
Okay.
But I'm wondering if Nick might go the whole distance. And I'll tell you why. Nick is in the wolf pack. He's got Isabella that he's flirted with. He's got Ashley. Now he's kind of friend zoning. You know, I think I want to keep my eyes on Nick. He's the only one I've met in person. So maybe that is the reason, but I'm kind of watching him.
I think I'm going to go with Matt playing Ashley, playing the lesbian. I just have a feeling that he knows what he's doing. And I think that it also, the reason I don't think it will be Kai is because we've seen so much of her so quickly. And I remember with Delisa, and I know like with other shows, the winner usually picks up the storyline about midway through the season and they really take charge. So that's why I think it's going to be Matt, because it's a little bit more low key.
I think you might be right. Those are my 2. I'll be honest. Those are the 2 people that I'm watching more than anybody else is those 2. But we might be surprised. We might have somebody who came in later, which could be.
I don't like that. I want an OG to always win.
I know, but at some time it's going to happen. I've thought about my strategy because I know you think about, gameplay and game theory. I know what I would have done. Here's what I would have done as both Sophie and Rachel playing their different characters. When they had that alone time, if I came in with a duo, Kat and Mitchell, the first thing I'd say is, hey, we are already under the gun because they've already made relationships. I'm going to befriend all the girls. You befriend all the guys, and let's act like we're not even friends. And then we'll meet up and get the skinny and figure out how we can help each other get into some sort of alliance or tear down these alliances. I think when you come in and say, hey, we're buds, and everybody sees you, then you've got to come in
a low key alliance.
You've got to have a low key, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Cool.
And guns ablaze and figuring out where those cracks are. Kat was trying. I think Kat was doing a great job. Mitchell too. But I would have said, hey, make sure nobody thinks we're together, and we'll be our ride or dies, because we're coming in. We have the same. Coming in the same way.
But
so that's my theory.
At least with the 2 new players, they came in pretty early on, so they do have a shot. So we'll have to see how it plays out. We're going to have to look back at this in a few weeks and see. Lee, what do you got going on? What are you doing these days?
I'm merch like Mr. Courtney.
Yeah.
I'm pitching. on his Instagram. He's got a shop on his Instagram profile. Go there. And I've got more coming. This is the first thing that came today. Cool. So I'm trying it out. I think I've got a hoodie and a t-shirt and a coffee mug that's coming. Ooh. So I'm excited about that. I'm doing some writing. I'm doing some collaborations on Instagram, and then I'm pitching. I've had some shows ideas that have been optioned, so I'm pitching, and hopefully some streamer, Netflix, will pick it. So
there's big things coming.
One of the shows actually that I really want to happen will involve some of my castmates from my season. So I'm hoping that they pick it up. We'll see.
Okay, we'll be on the lookout. Okay, and obviously everyone knows they can follow you on Instagram. You are always doing awesome Instagram lives. You bring on like so many different followers, which I think is so cool. So where can everyone find you on Instagram, or do you have any other social media that you want to plug?
Yeah, Lee Swift Author is pretty much, if there's a platform and I'm on it, it's going to be Lee Swift Author. I do some Twitter. I'm doing TikTok a little bit more, but I got to get better at TikTok. I'm more of a consumer of TikTok than a creator, but I'm trying to switch into the creator mode. But Instagram, all that, yeah.
Okay, awesome. And everyone will check you out.
All right, guys, that was my podcast with Lee. You guys are going to have to follow him on his Instagram, on his TikTok, if you have not already. I cannot wait for the new episodes to drop. They are out right now. And if you want to know what I think of the newest episodes, head over to my TikTok at Zachary Reality. I will be dishing there about my opinions on the newest episodes of The Circle. Obviously, me and Lee had to record this before the new episodes came out, so we didn't get to dish on that. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of season 3 of The Circle. I cannot wait to see how the rest of the season plays out. And make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel or my podcast, wherever you are listening or watching this. Leave comments down below what you guys thought of this podcast and what you guys think of The Circle. And I will catch you guys next week for a brand new episode of my podcast with Bachelor alum Erica Rose. So I'm super, super excited about that. So I'll catch you guys next Thursday. Have a great weekend.